Calling all authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast, hosted by Robert A. Lane, is on the air, featuring everything you need to know about narrating your own audiobook. But it doesn't stop there. From special guests, including authors and professionals from the book industry, to sharing tools and techniques needed to be a confident and compelling narrator. The journey starts now. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
All right, glad you're here for this edition of the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I am Robert A. Lane. So excited when I have guests in the studio, and so you're in for a real treat today. My very special guest is not only a best-selling author, but a world traveler. We're going to talk about some of the travels that my guest has gone on. So I'd like to welcome to the show Genevieve Marshall. Again, just a couple of great, actually three books that we're going to talk about today. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me as a guest on here.
So glad to have you here. You are a world traveler.
Yeah.
I love saying that because, where have I gone? I think the only thing that I've ever done outside of the United States is I did take a couple trips to Thailand.
Okay, that's a nice destination.
But other than that, I've been pretty local. So I'm really interested to find out what inspired you to go on these traveling adventures.
Well, I was born with the wanderlust. I mean, I just have to get out and experience the world. But I was born in Dallas, Texas, and my father was transferred to South America. He worked for Cigna Insurance Company, which at the time was called St. Paul's, and then turned to Afia, and then bought out by Cigna. And so I grew up my formative years in South America. And that really opened me up to this whole new world of everything that wasn't here in the United States, languages, culture, food, and that really got me excited. And then my father offered me the opportunity to go to Europe for university. And I said, yes, please, one-way ticket. And so I ended up having 3 years of experience in Paris, France, because I went to the American College of Paris at the time. It's now the University of Paris because it has grown. And that every weekend I was on a train, destination unknown. I just go buy a ticket and I would go on the train and go exploring. And so ever since then, it's just been this wonderful world of wonders that I've had to experience. And so I've never stopped. Just keeps going. And if I can afford the ticket, I will go.
Are there
enjoy.
Are there any favorite countries that you visited? I mean, obviously.
Everybody asks that question.
I'm sure. And it's probably hard to narrow it all down.
Well, it's hard to narrow it down because if you're saying what's your favorite destination to go swimming, or what's your favorite destination for the food or the mountains, the culture, all of those have a different answer. And so it's really hard for me to pin down one specific place. I rarely go back to places over and over again. I like experiencing something new and different. So, yeah, it's a constant movement.
So now you've written a travel book, basically, about your adventures, and it's called Unexpected Adventures.
Correct.
Unexpected Adventures.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that, and what can people discover in that book?
So I wrote my first travel book during the lockdown because I wasn't traveling and we were all at home and I was doing a lot of virtual traveling. And so I thought, I need to write down some of these stories that my daughter and I had experienced because they were unique. They are very different. And they're not just, we took a trip to Paris and we had a wonderful time. Now, these are all the things that went wrong on a trip and how do you get out of them? And so in the end, I wrote these 11 stories and I decided to publish them just for family and friends. Mm-hmm. And so that's why they're called Unexpected Adventures, because it's everything that you can't expect. And when it does happen, it's, kind of moving forward with that. And my daughter was just very, very excited about that because it literally was like a diary of my memories of our trips together, plus the photos. And then that segued into book number 2 because people enjoyed the stories so much, and I do have many of them. And so I did Those two. So they're basically 11 individual standalone stories. They're memoirs in each book.
Oh, in each book.
Yeah.
So the other one is More
Yes, because there was
Unexpected
more.
Adventures.
And if I write the third one, it will be even more.
So in each story, so you have 11 in one book and 11 in the other,
Correct.
and is each one like from a different country, or is it just 11 different
It's a
experiences?
hodgepodge. So
Okay.
basically, it was I would remember a story like being in Ecuador when I was there with my family, and we got tear gassed. I was very
Oh,
young then,
jeez.
so that was interesting. So I thought, oh, I can write about that one. And then another one when my daughter and I took a trip to Cancun, and I thought, oh, I'll write about that one. So there is no, there is no sequence, there is no rhyme or reason. It was just, I have another story. I'll talk about that one, and that became the next chapter.
Now, I do want to talk about your latest book. It's called Blank Checks, and for those of you who are watching the podcast, I just put a picture of the book on the screen so you can see it. Now, I know those of you who are listening to the audio only version, go to Amazon and type in Blank Checks by Genevieve Marshall, and you'll see the book. But this is a very interesting concept, to say the
Yes,
least. And now I know you say it's a fiction book,
correct.
but I always wonder, is there some truth?
Hmm.
Is there some truth to this fiction? So what was the catalyst that got you to write this book?
You're going to love this story because it's not normal.
Okay.
So, a couple of years ago, I was sitting around with a couple of friends of mine, and we were all discussing things that don't exist anymore. And one of them had said, I saw this video of a father asking a daughter, do you know what a Rolodex is? Do you know what a collect call is? Do you know like all these different things, burning a CD? And so for her, a collect call was collecting calls and putting them in a folder,
Ah,
and burning a CD is like, oh, you don't like the music anymore. Let's just burn it, tear it up, and throw it away. And so we were having that kind of discussion. Then somebody just came up and said, who in the group actually still uses a checkbook? Well, I do have to preempt this with my husband and I live in a 55 plus community. We're all retired. And so a lot of us still have antiquated items that we still use to this
right.
day. So, yes, we all still do use checkbooks, not as much as before, but we use that. And the minute they said that, I could visualize this blank check. And it kind of got me excited because I've never really thought of a blank check. And I looked at it and I go, ooh, like if I had that opportunity to have a blank check in front of me, what would I write on it? So I threw the question out to the group and I said, what would you guys write on a blank check? And literally it stopped everybody in their tracks. Their eyes got really big and like you could feel the excitement starting to boil up. And we all started talking about, oh, I want to pay off bills. I want to help, set money aside for the grandchildren so they can have an education. I want to help other family members. People came up with, they wanted to give to a good cause, take that vacation. But then they started saying, I want to take it in style, not just a vacation, but, let's go first class. Let's get the beautiful resort. And then they started putting a value to each one of those items. And then we all came up with a figure. But here's what the interesting part was is like a few weeks later, one of my friends came up to me and she said, I want to change my number. Now, I had to start laughing because I thought that is hysterical. Why would you want to change your number? She goes, I can't stop thinking about this. And I've got more items and I need more money. And I'm like, wow. So I had to stop and think about that. There was a hypothetical question that I asked that caused such excitement that the mind could not stop thinking about it. And then it happened again, and it happened again, and it happened again. And I thought, wow, there's a story there. Maybe I can write a story. And then I thought, right, that's like telling me I'm going to go climb Mount Everest. There's no way. I mean, I had written my little short stories, about my
Yeah.
my adventures. They were my stories. But now I'm looking at this concept of writing a novel. I had no idea where to start. And so I thought, this is going to be crazy. So where do I start? Well, I came up first with an idea of, okay, let's just create an imaginary app. It's this app that shows up on a phone because everybody has a phone.
Sure.
And then it segued into, okay, so if there's an app, I can actually have a winner every month. And that's when the light bulb went off. It was like,
Mm.
oh, so if I have a story every month, then I can have a winner every month, and I can isolate that to a country, a place, and then I can isolate it to its own set of characters. And once I figured that out, that I could have one story for every month in the book, I could actually do that. It's one story, 20 pages. I could do that. And before you knew it, I had written 110,000 words, and the story's not over. So book number 2 is in the process.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it was amazing.
You know what's really interesting is what did you find when you first asked your group of people that you originally asked? What was the first inclination of what they were going to spend money on? Was it to help others, or was it like, oh, I just got to put $1 billion because I want to be rich? And what was like the first inclination?
Well, to me, I just thought people were going to throw out a crazy number and just have this wonderful life. They never did that. Not one person, not even the younger generation that I did go out and question. Everybody had, like, the very top of their list was helping other people, doing for others.
Yeah.
But they never came up with a number. It was always a list every single time. Even the young kids, like teenagers, they even know what a blank check is. So the concept of a blank check is still a blank check, endless. It's
Right.
that opportunity of what if, of endless money. Nobody ever first said, oh, I'm going to be rich and wealthy and do all this. No, it was always helping others. I found that fascinating.
Do you have a number?
I had a number and it has changed. So
Okay.
originally, when I first saw that blank check when we were talking as a
Yeah.
group, my number was like 5 million,
Okay.
because it was, I've lived a life, I've been around the world. I have a wonderful life. I mean, we can pretty much afford what we want, not
Yeah.
extravagant, but we're very comfortable and very happy where we are. So 5 million really gave me the opportunity to make a list of people I wanted to help, things that would improve their life, because we are in that fourth quarter of our life.
Right.
And yeah, so now it's probably grown even more just because I'm seeing other possibilities, especially as I write the book, things that my characters, not me, my characters have chosen to do. And I thought, yeah, I could probably do with more. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to come up with a number.
Okay.
I want to play along.
Okay.
I'm going to pretend I have that app.
Yes.
All right. Here's that app, and I'm going to 11's my favorite number.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I had a numerology thing done,
Oh, okay.
and 11 came up as my number, which is interesting. So I'm going to say 11 million.
Okay.
Now, the way I look at it as, and that I still consider that quite a bit of money, and it's not all just for spending. You need to invest. So you can take that amount of money and just have it keep building and building and building and building. So you don't need $1 billion. You can make that. And honestly, really, do you need those, 3 yachts? No, you don't. You just need, and I love the concept of like helping others. That's key. And that's definitely one thing that immediately comes to mind for me as well. Another thing I think about with natural resources, if there's a beautiful forest or piece of land, that's being threatened to be built up and torn down, I got the money. I'm going to purchase the land and make it
There you
a
go.
nice reserve or something. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, and that was interesting because I had to play around with where the characters were living, where they were in their life, how old were they,
Mhm.
and then I literally had to delve into their world and say, what is a dollar? Because I did use the dollar throughout.
Right.
I didn't want to
Right.
keep changing currencies. That was too confusing. So what is a dollar worth for somebody living in the States versus somebody living in southern India in this remote little town?
Right.
Or maybe something there costs 25 cents and for us it's $10. So the value of the currency was very different. And that's where you see a wide range of monetary values put on that check from the different people.
So the characters
Mhm.
that are in your story now, are they based on real people, or are they completely, all from Genevieve's mind?
That's a great question. And everybody would like to know. So I have 7 stories that are based on real life characters. So let's take, I'll give you a few examples. Sean, who is my private detective, is based off of my friend Norma Tillman, who is a real private detective.
Oh, okay.
And she is amazing. So, because of our stories, it was so easy for me to envision what this private detective would be, getting in his head. I have other stories. There was one that was really fascinating. It was a story that I had heard of years and years ago from a friend of mine who had taken a trip to northern Italy. And when she was up there, they went to this little remote town up in the mountains, close to the border of Germany. And she came back and she goes, "Oh, I met this lady. And she used to be a smuggler when she was a child."
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, "Okay, interesting story." I asked questions, no more information. I go to write my book and I thought, Northern Italy, I could not forget that lady, a smuggler as a child. And I just had 101 questions. So that's how I came up with that, is because a friend of mine really met a lady up there that was a smuggler. And that's all we knew. And the rest was history. And then my Zumba teacher, she is Leah, and she's the one that gets stuck in the bathroom with all the plumbing problems in her house and has to call for help with the firemen. That's an actual real story. Real life. And I mean, why make stuff up when everybody has these amazing real life stories? Just use those and run with them. A lot of artistic liberty was taken in a lot of them, though.
Now, you got me curious because now you have a story about a smuggler. And if that person got that blank check
Mm.
and won, would they go back to that lifestyle or would they abandon that knowing that they have financial freedom?
Yeah, well, in this particular story, I don't want to give too much away,
Right, I
but
don't want to give it away.
yeah. So I've got to be kind of careful for those who haven't read the story. But basically, it's really, this lady in the story is in her late 80s. And,
Oh,
what can you do? What is your mobility like? What are your wishes? Have you ever left the town? These were all questions that I had asked. And so she ends up in the end helping her son. So I'm going to leave it
oh,
at that.
okay.
She
Fair
helps her
enough.
son, and her son, who is another friend of mine, I actually made his real life dream come true in the book.
Nice,
Yes.
nice. Now you said there is a part two in the works,
Yes.
a continuation. So what is going to be what's going to be different about this continuation, this other part to the story?
So the continuation is that the mastermind, Sean the detective in the first book, has to go on the discovery of who, where does all this money come from, why,
Right.
all that. And so in the first book, that all gets unraveled. And so the mastermind actually becomes a person, or you find out that it is a person. And the excitement around the world and the excitement that he had in watching these people change their lives, change other people's lives, he says, I don't want to stop it here. And so he starts a blank check lottery. And everybody's allowed to invest $1, maximum of $10. So that would be 10 entries.
Hmm.
And if you do the math, becomes this exorbitant amount of money. And so the game continues. But now it's not his money he's investing, it's pooled in money from a lottery, so to speak.
And so is it one? So is that something that happens every month still?
Correct.
Okay, so and it's one person who would win the lottery, whatever amount that.
Maybe.
Ah, now we're getting good.
Maybe.
Now we're getting to some good stories. So no, this is really fascinating. I want to put up the picture of the book again on the screen for those of you who are watching the video version of the podcast today. Yeah, this is really fascinating. Um, Blank Checks, as you can see on the screen, is available on Amazon. You can get the paperback version. There's an ebook version. There's an audiobook version. So definitely grab a copy of that. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you is, are you planning to do any more travel adventure books?
Travel adventure books. Wow, I hadn't thought about that. Hmm. That's interesting. At the moment, no, but thank you for the suggestion because I'm
Just
going to
thought.
jump on that one. Right now, so the blank checks lottery is in progress. And for those who have read the book and those who have not, I have my private detective, and then I have this other character, her name is Claire, and she owns this spa. And there's a hint or two in the first book about how Sean knows Claire. And it's at the airport when he has his panic attack. And they have their own book. And that is going to be number 3 in the sequence.
Wow.
And it's all about why was Sean investigating Claire, because she knows nothing about it. And that's all I'm going to say.
Okay, sounds good. So, what's funny? It's like when I hear about this story, it's like the person who invented Bitcoin. People are always trying to figure out who is the person who created Bitcoin, and nobody like there's this name, and I forget the name. It's a Japanese name, I think, and people are always trying to figure out who is this person, or is it a fictional person? And I'm thinking, God, that's kind of like the blank check thing. But we do find out then in book number 2 who was behind.
Well, you find that out at the end of book 1.
Oh,
yeah, you find out exactly who, what, where, when, and why.
Okay.
Yeah, you find out a lot.
So there, boy, you have a lot going on.
Yes.
You have a lot going on. Well, that's great. So that's so we got the blank checks. Do you have a title for the book 2 and possibly book 3?
Yeah, it's just as creative as with what I did with More Unexpected Adventures. It's Blank Checks Lottery.
Okay.
Want to make it simple.
And for the detective and Claire?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure because I really want to use her spa, which is called Sanade, which means to heal. And I haven't quite come up with a name for it. That's kind of there in the forefront, but we'll have to just kind of see.
All right. Sounds good. Love it. Love it. My very special guest, by the way, is Genevieve Marshall, who is sharing about this is a really fascinating book, Blank Checks. It's a great read. You got to pick it up. It's pretty cool story. I really love that, and I love that you're doing sequels for that too. So that's cool. You can get it on Amazon. Again, there's the ebook version, the paperback version, the audiobook version of that. You can also pick up the Unexpected Adventures and More Unexpected Adventures as well. So. Genevieve, what is the best way for people to get in touch with you?
So I have a website, and it's authorgenevieve.com.
Awesome.
Yep.
Great, which I'm putting a graphic there on the screen for those of you who are seeing this. It's authorgenevieve.com. It'll scroll by, so
there you go.
Write that down, people. Write that down, because there it is. It's going across.
Yeah,
the
and
screen.
my website is also linked to like Goodreads and BookBub and Amazon. So I do have my link on there, so people can go directly on there and find out a little bit more about me. Or if they want to read the first 3 chapters of the book, I've got that on my blog, on my website, so they can kind of have a little sneak peek into it.
That's great. That's great. I have to say, this has been really a fascinating discussion. The book, all 3 books really, are interesting and adventurous.
They are.
And I think that's just a wonderful thing that you're doing. And I'm also really looking forward to the follow-up now. Blank Checks Lottery.
Yes.
and the next book. So that's pretty fascinating. Is there you have maybe a piece of advice that you can give to authors to maybe get that fire inside them to complete?
Oh, wow. So there is a saying out there, write about what you know, write about what you love, because when you start writing about that, all that enthusiasm seems to come out in your writing, and it's a story that you're telling. So if you're excited about the story, that tends to come out in your writing, and it will keep people fueled to wanting to keep turning the pages. And just don't give up. Don't look at the end as, like me, Mount Everest. Kind of take it like baby steps, you break it down. Yeah. Like I didn't even know who was going to win the blank check each month. I just allowed that to happen. I kind of had some ideas, and then halfway through the story, I was like, yeah, no, I think this person over here is going to get it, because it was more exciting. Like that character came to life a little bit more. So it's just, don't set your sights on one goal. Just allow the fluidity of writing to come about. And if a new idea comes about, go with it. Because a lot of times that inspiration seems to be the road that you need to take versus trying to just stay on that one narrow road.
Right. No, I agree with you 100%. The other thing that I tell authors that I work with, in the audiobook coaching program that I teach, is always be tapped into the core reason of
Mhm.
why you wrote your book in the first place, because that energy is what comes out
Yeah,
when you do your narration. And always be tapped into that core reason, because that is the driving force. And it's similar to what you're saying. It's
right.
like, be passionate about it, love what you do, and never shy away from that.
Yeah, and for me, it was entertaining people, and all of a sudden, it's excited people into really the possibility of what if. It's
Yeah.
not like the idea of having the blank check is almost real to them. And so they've started doing that. People who've read the book have started doing things, taking trips that they were going to wait to do. They're like, no, I want to do this now, maybe a little scale down. However, they're going out there and doing things. So it's created some excitement, and I'm really thrilled about that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Genevieve, thank you so much for being a guest on the
Oh,
Your
thank
Book, Your Voice
you. This
podcast.
was awesome.
It's been a blast having you
Yeah.
on here. Again, go to Genevieve's website. By the way, the link to her site is in the description. So no matter what podcast platform you're checking out here, I do have the link to authorgenevieve.com in the description. So you can click on that and see about her adventures, her book adventures, blank checks, and also stay informed for the follow-up books. So that's another great thing. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, this is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane. We're here every Wednesday at this time doing the live broadcast. But again, if you're hearing the archived version, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Again, thank you. Oh, by the way, I do have my assignment that I give after every podcast that I do, and it's this. When you're out and about in the world, smile at a stranger, say hello to them, because that small gesture of kindness can make the world a difference in somebody's life. So be a life changer. All right, my friends, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be talking to you on the next edition of the Your Book, Your Voice podcast.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode. And remember, only you can narrate your story the way it's meant to be heard.